Hi there, this is Oliver from Sidebar, and in this video we are going to have a look at the context menu in Sidebar. First of all, let's open up the settings. In the Behavior tab in the settings, you can see that there are actually three options available for the context menu. We have the modern context menu, the list context menu, and the minimal one. I'm going to showcase all of them today in this video. So we first start off with the modern one, which is also the default if you install Sidebar and change it and don't change it by yourself. So if you hover one of the icons in Sidebar, you will get the previews. On right click with the modern context menu, you can see that the previews still persist in the overview. And on top of that, you get a new couple of buttons there, which is basically the active tabs in Safari, for instance, and some additional context menu options like creating a new window or creating a new private window for Safari. This may vary depending on the application that you are right-clicking on, but ultimately, this is the modern context menu. You can switch between the layout of the previews over here. So right now we are using the automatic mode, which will display up to 3 windows with a big preview, and then switch over to the list mode, which is this one. In this case, in the list mode, you can see that the thumbnails here are smaller and the title has more space and is located right next to the image. And then we can switch back to the large mode here. Beneath the previews, you have the customize mode. And this is very important for the modern context menu because every option that changes something is inside this customization mode or is only accessible while the customization mode is active. So if you click on the customize button here, you can see that the overview changes. You are now in customization mode. Customization mode will also persist if you close the context menu. So if we just close it now and hover over the icon again, you can see that we are still in customization mode. This is because it's easier to customize multiple applications at once. So I can also hover Finder, for instance, and you can see we are still in customization mode for all of these apps. Within the customization mode, there are a couple of options available. At the very top, you can see that there is the application name and the icon. Clicking on the icon here allows you to change the icon. So you can, on the one hand, restore the default icon, the default system icon, which is this one for Safari. And you can select a new icon here if you press this button and just select a file to upgrade the icon for Safari. This will instantly change the icon of Safari to the new one. You can also change the title of the app by clicking in here and assigning a new title, for instance, Safari New, and clicking enter. So this is the new title now. If we exit customization mode, you can see that the title of the app, Safari New, has changed from Safari to Safari New. It's important to note that this name change here only is visible in Sidebar. This doesn't change the name of the application on your system, but only changes the name here within Sidebar. You can revert this change by clicking on this button. Beneath that, you have the option for a custom display style. And if you have watched the styling basics video, you know what the application display style is. This is basically how applications are displayed in Sidebar. So for instance, if I navigate in here, you can see that there is currently no custom display style set for Safari, and we can do that now. Right now, we are using the macOS style. So if I use this option here, nothing changes. If I switch to the ungrouped labeled style here, you can see that only Safari now will be displayed using the ungrouped labeled style, which will effectively display every single application window along with the title directly in Sidebar. You can also switch to the hybrid style. The hybrid style is a mixture of the macOS and the ungrouped labeled style and will only show individual application windows if there is more than one window available. For now, I'm going to switch back. There's also an option for application-specific settings in here. In here, you have some additional, more fine-grained controls for this application. For instance, you could enable the option to never show multimedia controls. So even if you would play a video in Safari now, Sidebar wouldn't show the multimedia controls if that option is enabled. You have the option to always show this app on all screens. This overrides all applications with all application display preferences that I showed you in the Sidebar Basics video, and will always force this application, Safari in this instance, to be visible on all screens where Sidebar is located on. The next option here, show when running without Windows. If enabled, this will display Safari, even if it's running without Windows. This can happen for a couple of macOS applications, and Safari is an example of that. So if you close every single window by pressing the button over here, so the little X here, this will effectively close all windows of Safari, but the app will still be running. And by default, you wouldn't see this application in Sidebar, only if you activate this option here. There's also a global setting in the Sidebar settings that I showed you in the Sidebar Basics video. But if you want to only use it on a specific application, then you need to use this option here. Same goes for the limit to active spaces. This would override the global option. Because also mentioned in the Sidebar Basics video, by default, Sidebar will only display applications on the active spaces, but you could also switch that off in the Sidebar settings and display applications from inactive spaces as well. This setting here overrides this. So if you include applications from inactive spaces as a global setting, you can override this here with this one. And the last one is never show in Sidebar. If you click that one, Safari in this case won't be visible in Sidebar, and we are going to try that. So if I click on that, you can see it already vanishes, but the dialog remains open, so you can actually undo it quickly and easily. But I will keep this option enabled now and show you how you can disable this option in case you enabled it and actually close this dialog, because now you can't access Safari anymore. To revert this change, open up the Sidebar settings in the Applications tab at the very bottom, and you can see that Safari is listed in the application-specific settings in here. And the option to never show in Sidebar is toggled. So if we untoggle that here, you can see that Safari has returned, and we can have a look at what is next in the modern context menu. In here, we have some organization buttons. You can, for instance, add a spacer, a line, or an empty space. I'm going to add an empty spacer now. This will create an empty space here right next after the icon that I created it on. And of course, you can move that around as well and change it here. There's the option to add Safari to a new stack. And for now, I'm going to remove the spacer. There is also the option to add Safari to a new stack. If you do that, you will create a new stack. As you can see now, the customization mode remains active even for the stack. So let's exit this for a short moment. And now you can see Safari is located within the stack now. And if you right click on Safari now, enter the customization mode, you can remove it from the stack. Since there's only one application in the stack, this will also remove the stack entirely. The option to lock Sidebar is handy if you don't want to accidentally rearrange your applications in Sidebar. So now the option to rearrange the apps here is locked, and you can only rearrange apps if this is disabled. So now it's working again. The next one is the pin to option. So by default, as you might know, Sidebar will only show applications that are currently running and that have at least one window if this option is enabled. So let's pin this application to all screens to show you what actually is going to happen. So as you can see, the calculator is now pinned on all screens, and we're going back and we're going to exit the customization mode here. So if I quit this app now, the calculator app, you can see the running and the indicator here vanishes. This means the calculator app is not running anymore, but it's still visible in Sidebar. So if I click on that, this will start the calculator app. Let's right click on this one for a moment and enter the customization mode again and disable this pinning here. So you can also unpin the calculator app from all screens using this button and go back. If you exit the customization mode and quit the calculator app now, you can see that it vanishes from Sidebar because it's not pinned anymore. Let's start it up again to have it running again. Next one is the assign to functionality. If you enter this one, you can see the three areas that Sidebar is divided into. Basically, Sidebar consists of three areas, which is the left area, the default area, and the right area. Applications assigned to the left area will always be displayed on the left side. Applications on the right area will always be displayed at the right side, and the default area is just in between. So for instance, if I assign the calculator app now to the left area, you can see that the calculator app will be moved over here. And this line here indicates that this is the end of the left area, and this is the default area here. And we don't have a right area at the moment. You can do that for either all screens or just on this screen, basically. And then we have the move option here. This consists of two functionalities. You can actually move one icon to the right or the left. So you can see this is the same as just using drag and drop on the application icon. Or you can also use this to move all windows to another screen. So if you have multiple screens, like an external screen or something, it would appear here. And then you can click on the screen, and this would move all application windows of Finder in this case to the other screen, which might be handy to quickly move a bunch of application windows to another screen. All right, and you already saw it before, like those options here might switch depending on what you're looking to at. So for instance, let's add a spacer, an empty spacer again, and let's also move Safari into a stack. So if I hover the empty spacer now, you can see that we now have spacer-specific settings and options to remove the spacer again or assign it to a different area. If I hover the stack, I have stack-specific settings and so on. So this might be depending on what you are actually hovering, what you can see in the customization mode. So the basics always remain, like the display style, for instance, or the ability to change the name or the icon up here. But everything else is up to the context of the item that you're clicking on. All right. So far for the modern context menu. And for now, we are going to remove the spacer here again. So if we open up the settings now, you can see that there are also two other options available. Oh, and one thing that I forgot to mention, if you open up the context menu like this and you click the Option or Alt key, you can see that some of the options change, like from quit to force quit and from open to open in Finder. So it's always a good thing to try clicking or holding down the Option or Alt key on your keyboard and check if there might be alternative options available for the things you're looking at in the context menu. All right, let's switch over to the list context menu. And the list and the minimal context menu are actually very similar. The list one here, if you right click on Finder now will give you a standard list style context menu. Again, you can use this to rename an application or to change the icon here. Or to update the custom display style, the application specific settings, and so on. So basically, all the options that were separated into different sub-menus before are now located in a list-like menu that you might know from macOS as well. Again, you can press the Option or Alt key here to, for instance, change the quit to a force quit option here. The minimal context menu is almost the same, but we further reduce the options that are available. So you can see that here are now only the most basic ones are available, which is pinning in this case and moving it around. But if you press the Option or Alt key, then this will expand to a full list of options, like in the default list context menu. And if you release your Option or Alt key again, this switches back to the minimal version here. All right, so that's it for the context menu. Thank you for listening.